Hello friends. Generally, many find it very difficult to work with the adolescents or relate to them. And most of the times, they'll end up in conflicts. দেখুন আইজ আমি কোশে বাসিন তর্নাটা সবে সম্বন্ধ করতে how do we relate to the adolescents? Adolescence is an age maybe from 10 to 19 or 20, which is an age where there is a lot of changes happening to them. There is changes at emotional level, at intellectual level, at social level, and there is a growth that is happening to them, which is very difficult for them to comprehend. Therefore, it is important for us to understand them first. If you understand them, then we would also come to know what are their needs. Understanding would mean that we stand below, under them, and look at them and know them fully. Only then we would come to know their needs. Koslio tancho gorzotio, kite taka zaite, kite taka unete, and then would be our response. How we respond to the needs, only by understanding them. Usually, what happens with parents, with teachers is they address a particular behavior. If the adolescents tell lies, oh, topotto loita, he is disrespectful, he is misbehaving, we address that behavior. If we were to understand him first and know what is there inside, then it would be very easy to address what is outside. So general approach, poile bailan kiten gottate ami podetao and magir bitoretao. The best would be to understand the inside first and then relate or respond to what is outside. That generally helps us to relate with them, communicate with them, connect with them, bond with them. So let us try to understand them at different levels. First, which is very obvious, is their physical growth. From 10 to 20, there is a spurt in growth. There are a lot of physical changes that are happening. There is an explosion of hormones in their bodies. There are also some sexual changes that happen to them. And evedar tanka tsur goros, what they need is their body image. They're having a lot of concerns with their body. For them, it is like a life and death issues. And we, as significant others, as parents and teachers, we can address them or respond to them. And how would we respond to them if their need is about their body image? They would feel awkward about their shape of their nose, about the color of their skin, the height. And at this time, they would like to do something their peers are doing. Maybe have the same kind of shoes or have a hairstyle which is not okay for us. They would be doing certain things which would be odd in our language or in our terms to our mind. But it is very important for them. And they could mind pine, teacherani, tanchi body appreciate kuru. That they appreciate themselves and accept themselves as they are is very important. That they know how they are growing. Many a times they cannot hold themselves together because the growth is so fast, they can't understand how their body is growing. And we need to explain to them what happens to them. And therefore, you would find them cutting their clothes or piercing themselves, having earrings, or do all kinds of things that would get attention to them, is because they really don't understand what is happening to them. And you, as a significant other, as a parent or as a teacher close to them, has to assist them to accept themselves as they are. They have to realize that I am someone beautiful, I am someone that is handsome, I am someone that is to be loved and appreciated. That he should not feel awed with any part of his body or any skin or anything of himself, that he accepts or she accepts herself or himself fully. And the significant others have to be along with them. The second thing that happens to them at this stage is the growth in the brain, the neurological growth. Their brain is not fully formed. At this moment, their prefrontal cortex, which is the outside brain, the frontal brain, which the elders has fully developed. It develops only after 24. This is only in formation. And at this time, which is the cortex, the frontal cortex or prefrontal cortex, it decides about, or they are the areas where you do thinking, rational part of it is done there, or planning is done in that area, organization is done in that area, decision making is done at that area, the personality as such is formed in that area. And so when we deal with this adolescents, that part of their brain in terms of organization, in terms of planning, rationalization, or their personality is not fully formed. आनी हे वेळार तांच्यान एके भाशेन कितें ऑर्गनायज करूंक जायना, प्लॅनिंग करूंक जायना, आनी देखून आमकां जायते पावटी ती मेळटात तांचो रूम एकदम मॅस जाल्लो, कितें तांकां सांगलेलें करिनात, विसरलें म्हणटात. ती कितेंच भाशेन हें तांच्या मनान आसना, हे वेळार ते तयार जावंक नात. आनी वॉट वी कॅन डू एज सिग्निफिकंट others to them. At this time, we can guide them how to organize things. We can plan along with them. We can tell them how the things have to be set, how things have to be arranged. We need to sit with them and talk to them. And so that this planning dimensions, which is not fully developed, that area is not developed, that we sit with them and do it along with them. In a sense, we model it to them, and in a sense, we train it to them. And therefore, we need to know that when somebody has a messy room, or if something is not organized well, that youngster, that adolescent is not there in his dictionary or not there in his neurological setup, in his brain. It is not there at all, or it is just being formed. And therefore, you have to be someone who guides at them. Daniel Siegel describes the brain as a hand model. He describes it as these 5 fingers, this thumb put across, which is the limbic system, and the 4 fingers coming over that limbic system becomes the prefrontal cortex. And as I said, the prefrontal cortex decides about the planning, organizing, languaging, personality. All those areas are here at this, which are not yet developed. But they have a fully developed limbic system. Limbic system is the emotional dimension of a person. It is fully developed. And at this time, their emotions are very high. Their limbic system is very high. But what does limbic system do? Emotions like fear, anger are the ones that keep somebody on alert. And when the limbic system is very active, the prefrontal cortex is overwhelmed and becomes dysfunctional. आनी देखून भुरगे जेन्ना रागार जातात, जेन्ना तांकां कितें भाशेन भिरांत येता, तेन्ना they take a stand. They either fight, or they take a flight, they run away from you, or they freeze. These are the 3 actions they do. They fight, or they run away from you, or they freeze. आनी देखून जेन्ना आमी भुरग्याक क्रिटिसायज कोत्ता, भुरग्यांचेर तापता, when we irritate them, when we argue with them, that's the time we get their limbic system very active, and their prefrontal cortex is being overwhelmed and becomes dysfunctional. And देखून तूं ताका इमोशनली तूं एंगेज कोत्ता, आनी जेन्ना तो इमोशनली एंगेज जाता तेन्ना तो धांवूंक सोदता, नाजाल्यार झगडूंक सोदता, नाजाल्यार फ्रीज जाता. He takes any of these 3. He would fight with you, or he would take a flight from you, or he would freeze there. And therefore, we have to eliminate all kinds of irritations, annoyance, arguments with the adolescents, because you're putting them on alert mode, and you're dislodging their planning system, their decision-making system, ही फंक्शन जायना. आनी जेन्ना आमी हें कोत्ता तेन्ना तीं भुरगीं सदांच पळयतात तूं कितें म्हणटलो, कितें कोत्तलो. They are looking for cues. And there's a one organ in that particular limbic system called amygdala looks out for signal, which are threat. Because this is a survival brain, it looks out for threat. ओ कितें म्हणटलो, तो कितें कोत्ता, तुज्या तोंडाक पडयतलो, आनी तुजें तोंड कशें आसा तें. And they misread your actions. They misread what you want to say. And therefore, we have to keep them calm. We have to cool them in order to engage with them. If you do, when they are fully awake at the limbic system, when they are emotionally charged, you are not working with them. You are only you're involving them at a wrong end. ती हुंयच पावची नात. अशें करीत जाल्यार कितें जाता तें हें. ती एके भाशेन सदांच फ्लायट मोड or fight mode or freeze मोडान उत्ता. जेन्ना तूं भुरगो घरा येता तेन्ना तूं ताचे लागीं आर्ग्युमेंट सुरू कोत्ता जाल्यार हो भुरगो goes on a fight mode or flight mode or freeze mode. And when they are in this mode, you cannot discuss with them, you cannot plan with them, you cannot form their character, you cannot form their personality. At this time, they are only looking for survival. They are engaged at this. And Dekun, what are their needs at this time? We have to realize that their brain is in formation. Some describe it as a hot lava. जेन्ना एक गरम गरम लोखंड आसता आनी ते आमी धाडायता आनी एके भाशेन ताका शेप दिता ते भाशेन तूं ताचे भाशेन एंगेज जाता ते भाशेन ताचे तकलेक शेप येतली आनी ओय भाशेन ताचो मेनो घडटलो. जरी तूं सदांच ताचे लागीं आर्ग्युमेंट कोत्ताय वो सदांच ताका नॅगींग कोत्ताय तो तसलो जातलो. जशे भाशेन नॉरिटी लॉ नॉल्थे अशें म्हणटा. जरी तर तूं भुरग्याक क्रिटिसायज कोत्ताय, he will learn to condemn. Or if you're hostile with that child, with that youth, then he would learn to be fighting. If you are ridiculing it, shaming it, then he would learn to be shy. You're forming the character by way you give him the experience. The experience that you give would form his personality in future. But if you give him encouragement, he would become a confident person. Or if you support him and praise him, he would develop into a loving personality. It depends upon how you engage him or her and how you give the experiences to him. They say what is fired gets wired. म्हणजे जी कोरणी पोत्तून पोट्टून जाता ती त्या भुरग्याच्या मेनांत रिगता आनी हे भाशेन तीच ताका सोय जाता. तूं रागान सदांच ताचे लागीं उत्ता जाल्यार रागाचो तो मनीस जाता. मोगान बरे भाशेन तूं सांगता जाल्यार तसलो तो मनीस जावंक पावता. And so it depends upon you how you fire and that it may wire together in the brain. And what happens is also when you emotionally engage a child or adolescent, सदांच ताका तूं रागान उलयता वो ताका भिवयता इमोशनली एंगेज केला तेन्ना that experience get burned and leaves a deep impression on his mental or on his brain makeup, on his mental makeup. It remains. And देखून ताका हो उगडा सदांच उत्तलो. ही कोरणी तुवें ताचे सोबें केल्या ताका रागान कितेंय मुटलां रागान ताका देंवचार मुटला तूं कितेंय मुटलां जाल्यार तें ताच्या मनान उत्ता. आनी हे भाशेन आमी कितें कोत्ता आमी आमच्याच भुरग्यांक एके भाशेन पयस कोत्ता. They get emotionally distanced from you. You may do so many things. Tuka eke bashen pai koso, mai koshi. As a teacher, having discipline is very important. Following certain rule is very important. Doing something that you told them, हांवें कितें सांगलेलें तें करूंकूच जाय, तें करूंक ना जाल्यार you get upset and you want it to be drilled into them. That's not so important. Then the person, if you are going to damage that person, if you are going to hurt that person, then it's not worth to keep a discipline. Discipline comes only after. When you have warned the person, if you have loved the person, then you will be able to win him to do what you want him to do. Maybe certain rule to be followed, certain discipline to be done. That's a certain obedience that तुझे सांगलेलें आयकूंक जाय हें करूंक पयलो तुवें ताका जिखूंक जाय. But you just want to do, that has to be done. This rule has to be followed at any cost. I may disturb you, I may break you, I may crush you, that does not matter. But actually we defeat them, we destroy them, and we lose them. And we develop their personality as a broken one. And they could, in order to get them understand at their level, is to validate their feeling. We know adolescents are full of emotions, and most of the time they have these emotions of depression, they have emotion of anger, also fear, of shame. These are emotions they go through. And जेन्ना तुजो भुरगो तुजे लागीं येता तेन्ना and he says something to you, or he has not obeyed you, or he argues with you, probably that is the time you need to look not at outside, look at inside. What is happening to him inside? And you ask the child, what is happening? I see you angry. Oh, I see you frustrated. Oh, you are disturbed today. Let me hear you. Let me listen to you. And then you sit down with the child, with the adolescent, and listen to them. Listening is very important. Now, तूं listening करतना ताका आयकतना तुवें तुजें कांयच मनान दवरिनासतना, एक जजमेंट करिनासतना, तुका कितें सांगूंक जाय आसा तें सांगिनासतना ताका आयकूंक जाय. We have to understand, my dear friends, they are going through many difficult problems. They have their own body issues. They are in a world exposed outside. They have their peer groups. They go through isolations. They go through depression, sometimes even suicidal. And we need to know their world, where they have been exposed, where they have been humiliated, where their image has been affected. You listen to them. What is happening to them? And when they communicate to you, let this channel of communication be left open, that you can always ask to that your child, your adolescent, or they can come freely and talk to you. Create that ambience. Oslo वातावरण घरांत जावं दी, कितेंय तांचें सगळें भायर जालें जाल्यार, कितलीं तीं दुखलीं जाल्यार, वो कितें मिस्टेक पासून जाली जाल्यार ती आमचें सगळें येतलीं आनी सांगतलीं. वो तूं तांकां इचारता तेन्ना ती फोट मारिनासतना तुका सांगतलीं. पूण ती फोट मारतात जाल्यार, तुजें आयकनात जाल्यार, then something is not connected. So it's very important that you keep this connection with them, that you continue this communication with them and listen to them. Not because to reply back or to find a solution, to get a problem. No, you're just there, not passing any judgment. You are listening to them full-heartedly. Secondly, your adolescent should know that he or she is loved unconditionally. That the love comes not because he has done this or done that. If he has done that, even then he would get his love. If he has done a mistake there, even then he will get his love. Even if you feel that he has disobeyed you or she has disobeyed you, still the love would come. And I was suggesting that we don't focus on the outside. The child would come and tell you, it is not so important for me just now that my room is in mess. It is not important for me just now that I have not done something which you have told. For me, what is important is what is going inside. How I have been humiliated in the class, where my image is being affected outside. I am not accepted among my peers. Those are the issues I am going through. I sometimes feel depressed. Those are the issues I'm going through. Listen to me. Focus at me. And therefore, focus on the feeling and understand their feeling and validate those feelings. At the same time, we have to be also bond with them. We have to continue this bonding. As a child, the child was 6 years old. We were having this hugging the child. We used to talk to the child, and child would listen to us. But now the child has grown, and we sometimes leave those connections, holding the hands, putting your hands around the child, keep those bonds continued. Because as an adolescent, he needs it or she needs it even more. The intimacy dimension is still more for them at this time. And therefore, we have to continue having these bonds, physical touch, having nice communications with them, conversations with them, that we have some time together, we play together, we spend time at the meal, that bonding together is very much important. We have to realize that my child, my adolescence out there is facing many problems. There are a lot of things that can take him on the wrong side. There are a lot of areas where he can fall and falter. And therefore, I have to be having that he can come back to me anytime and feel free that I would be there for me. At this time is a life-changing experience for them. It's a formative years, and most of the changes जो बदललो जातात ते वेळार जातात. 10 ते 19 वर्साचे तेंपार जातात आनी तांची पर्सनॅलिटी डेव्हलप जाता ह्या वेळार. आनी देखून द पॉझिटिव्ह पॅरंटींग, positive assistance from the teachers is very much pertinent for them. कित्याक भायर ती वेतात कोरी, इश्टा सांगाताक आसात कोरी, पूण तांकां खरो मोग आनी खरो सपोर्ट फकत घरांतूच मेळटलो तांच्या आवय बापाय सांगाता, तांच्या वडिलां सांगाता. Teenagers, the peers may come and go. They cannot fight with them, they cannot argue with them, they can do it only at home, and they do that. And therefore, we have to be very supportive at this time, knowing that they may act independent, they may think that they are separate, but they are leaning on you. You are the foundation for them, and you can't leave them at this time. You have to be there, giving them unconditional love. Fourthly, at this time, we also see that they are looking for their identity. धाकटो आसतना माय सांगता तें कोत्तालो आनी सदांच द भुरगो आपले मांयक पळयतालो, कितें करचें माय पायक ताका सांगता तेंच तो कोत्तालो. पूण आतां तो तकलेन वाडला. ही हॅज सम इंटेलिजंट, ही कॅन थिंक एब्स्ट्रॅक्टली, एंड ही कॅन ऑल्सो डू थिंग्स बाय हिमसेल्फ. हांव एक कंपॅरिजन कोत्तलो आसलो एक केळीक धाकटो केसुबो आयलो म्हणटोच तो एकदम चिटकून आसता. ताचे आवय जे केळीचो पयलो भाग आसता तिका चिटकून आसता, आनी मागीर तो सेपरात कसो जाता. लागून आसता खरो, पूण सेपरात कसो जाता. इतलीं वर्सां तुज्या सांगाताक तो आसा, तुजें आयकलां, आतां तो सांगूंक सोदता, or she wants to say, I am someone. I have also an individuality. I have an identity. I can think for myself. I can do things for myself. And therefore, at this time, what are their needs? Their needs is to have more social network. To be doga poine asli, ata they want to have larger networks, and they are usually the ones at their age, their peers. At this time, they also want to explore. They also want to experiment. They want to try new things. They want to think for themselves. At this time, they want to know that I am someone and I can do something. And you as a parent and you as a teacher can do a lot of things at this area for them. You have to journey with them and tell them you are someone. Look at them doing something, or catch them doing something good. And when they have done that good, you promote their individuality, their personality, their identity. When they have worked hard, you promote their individuality, their identity. You are this. You also look at their features, certain characteristics they have, and say, these are yours. And you are really special. At certain age, the adolescent should be able to feel, I am someone unique, I am someone special, and I can do something. And if you have been successful as the significant other in their life to make that adolescent feel that I am someone and I can do something. I am someone special and I am someone unique. I have certain personality and I can do something. Another way of making him independent is to give him freedom. Many times you say, you do it by yourself. These are the areas I leave you free. And you can handle this by yourself. You can do things on your own and give them certain responsibilities. Another way to make them feel that they are someone is to get them into family decisions. If you are making decisions about something, even of going out for a picnic, or if you are doing some project, get them into discussion as if he's another full-fledged member. Ask for their opinions. Even when they have to discuss about something about themselves, you ask their opinions and say what you would have done. What is your opinion? Tell me what you want to say. And once they have been listened, they feel that they have been acknowledged as someone, as they have a personality, as they can do something. Therefore, it is important to journey with them, to get connected with them and lead them on. One of the ways we can make them feel that they are someone is also giving them opportunities to mingle with their friends, that they need this so that they can learn and explore with them and let them be free at that area. But also have a close but not interfering monitoring, that they should know my mother or my father or my teacher is trusting me. She has been entrusting responsibility to me, and therefore I am someone whom they can rely on. That part has to come. Also, it is important for us to give them really a time that they feel very close to us. They feel that they can be open to us, that they feel that they have somebody as their support, as someone whom they can rely on. My dear friends, it is we who will build them or break them. And as I said, they are in the development, in the fluid stage, like the माती जे मेणकोटी माती कशी आसता तेचे आयदोळ आमी कोत्ता आनी थोडेच तेंपान उज्यान घालें म्हणटच तें लिबोर जातलें ते भाशेन आमी हे वेळार एडोलसन्स टायम वी फॉर्म देम. And especially the mental framework, the neurological framework at the brain is being formed at this time. And we need to get them prepared. And so the experiences that we give have to be positive one. Our talk has to be positive and our dealings have to be positive. We have to be able to separate the person and the deed. Deed कितेंय जावं, ताची कोरणी कितेंय जावं, we have to love that person fully. Separate it and deal the action separately, not along with the person. Person has to be deeply loved at the core, and each incident of their life that is outside has to be dealt only when I have loved that person inside. So let this be our approach, from inside to outside, that we at the core love the person, accept the person fully, and from there we go to deal with his maybe misbehavior here, or indiscipline there, or disrespect somewhere, or he has done something mischievous. You deal that action only after you have dealt, understood enough, and known the need of that person, and then respond to that person. Only then we would be able to develop very integrated, mature adults, if we at the fluid stage have dealt with them with love, with care and concern.